Okay, so oh god, we've already messed up. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the hotly anticipated third episode of. Oh, it's playing myself back to me there. The third episode of Britannic Roundtable. It's been quite a week this week. For several different reasons, but great to have you join us. Already 18 watching, so it's time to go round and so. Limbu, how's your week been? You're the first person on the list here, so I shall let you introduce. How's your week been, Limbu? You there? Oh, he's gone to get a drink, isn't he? Right.
Yeah,
okay, I'll start then. We dropped 8 viewers already. All right. Okay. Okay. It's going well. All right. It's fine. Anyway, so I guess I'm okay. I don't really have anything else to say. I went on stream yesterday with Iron Duke. I might put that in the description. We talked about lots of different things, but also we're going to be discussing today, like the protest in London the other day. That was a very, very interesting affair. Quite a lot of people went to that, so interesting thing. But we'll go to Napoleon. Napoleon, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Epic. I really didn't think through the introduction very well, but we're going round, right? Okay. So I just introduce everyone. I think that's probably the best thing to do, right? Colombian, anything to say to introduce?
I mean, someone who's known me from last week or past dramas, or maybe I've joined your group chat, pissed off my tits and started fed posting. But yeah, I've been at work, did a little fitness, cooked. Yeah. Oh, fucking Lit Limbu, by the way.
Yeah, he's very stylish.
Yeah, I'm pretty popular in the chat, as you can see, with a gay profile pic and get the fuck off the podcast. But yeah,
the most popular member of the experience.
Yeah, Bob Stephen Dilate.
Oh, we got Son of Britain here. Hello, Son of Britain.
69.
I saw your Telegram thing that no one else would have seen. So I mean, I could reference it, but I mean, no one else would understand what I'm on about. So right, Limbu's come back. There we go. Limbu's here. Hello, Limbu. Durden. No, it's not working. Right. Okay. Right. We should get the first story, and this first story concerns a friend of the show. I'm not sure if everyone saw this. So just get it up on Google.
Before we start, can I just say, for security reasons, I can't actually comment on most of this.
Right. No comment from my man. Lindsay's gone again. Right.
For legal and personal reasons.
Oh God, I have to do it on Chrome. All right. Okay. So. Oh, I should have done it. I forgot it doesn't work on this browser. All right. Okay. Oh, it's going well. We all know the story. I'll read it out to you. So Elizabeth, who's been on these streams before, she's been on both of them actually. She's not on this week because she's busy, but she was banned from Aberdeen University for 2 weeks for saying "Rule Britannia" during a debate on the British Army. Obviously, it was viewed as potentially discriminatory to say "Rule Britannia." It was offensive to foreign students, and I think she made the comment that like, oh well, why would you be offended by this statement, right? Because you're obviously at a British university. So if you're at a British university, then why would you be offended by it? But she's been suspended for 2 weeks, and I think it hit Daily Mail, Daily Telegraph, Sun. I think Mirror covered it, Metro. So it's been around the press, but it's the furthest we will get in terms of breaking into the mainstream media, I think. So has anyone got any thoughts on this story at all? While I try and get it up, we'll go around. Who wants to speak first? Anyone?
Legal reasons, no comment.
I'll go first. I think it's just bang out of order. You've got a bunch of because it's foreign students specifically that took issue with this. You've got foreign students that have come to the UK to study at this Aberdeen, the University of Aberdeen, right? They're having a debate about whether or not the British military should be on campus, right? The British military, as far as I'm concerned, won't be recruiting foreign university students. As far as I'm aware, they're not allowed to do so. So it is of no concern to them to not have the British military on the campus. It's not their concern. It's not their nation. They don't live here. They're only here to study. Once they've done the studies,
Can
they
I
leave.
just say, I can't comment that everyone's spamming Callum comment in the chat. I can't comment.
Long live Pakistan, says this
Long
guy
live
with a
Pakistan.
base profile picture.
Pakistan.
Wait, can you hear me now? Or...
Yeah, I can hear you,
Yes.
Limbu.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
good.
fantastic.
That's good.
So that's
Fantastic.
that's my 2 cents on this issue that's gone on.
Oh,
Oh,
oh.
oh.
To say that you're all young'uns, you're a bit boomer with your tech, aren't you? Jesus.
Sorry.
Bluey, you sound like a nonce catcher.
Sound like a
Okay,
nonce catcher.
Am I the only one?
There we go. I'm on the other browser now. Right, now I can share the screen because I was on the wrong browser, but now I can watch with glee at my Zoom attack. Right, is that up now? Is it on screen? Please tell me it's on screen.
No.
Tell me when.
mate.
Tell me when. Tell me when. Oh, there we go. Here he comes. It ain't nothing but a heart.
There we go.
Finally, is it on screen? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
God be praised. God be praised. Here's the story. I think we've already gone through it, but it said Rule Britannia during a debate. Debate was discussing presence of British Army on university campus. She was banned from all student union buildings and debates for 2 weeks. Aberdeen University said that quoting 18th century piece could be viewed as potentially discriminatory. Speaking to the Telegraph, being prosecuted for the crime of being patriotic. Yeah, so fair play to R. Elizabeth. She stood up for free speech.
Back for the free speech. Well, if I remember correctly, the universities are going to have to get forced to enshrine freedom of speech now on campus. If I remember correctly, so she can't be. As far as I'm aware, I don't think she's going to get prosecuted any further for saying it. It's trying to. It seems to me that it's just trying to drum up concern in the public about somebody saying something possibly offensive, right? It's the usual media trick. It's trying to drum up something where there isn't anything.
I think we know she said worse.
Limbu, any thoughts? I think you're trying to speak there, but
I was just like, oh dear. I mean, the situation's a bit messed up. I mean, the only thing I would comment about is how, let's just say, how certain individuals reacted to this afterwards. Let's just say the Twitter people. I mean, I do have Twitter. I do have Twitter myself, but I'm not that active. I'm a bit of a boomer myself on Twitter, but how people reacted and how they started to cancel it that's just not on. It's just wrong. Yeah,
yeah. So obviously there was a bit of a whole thing about that, but you know.
Are you going to comment on Olmesh's question in the comments?
No.
No,
Pakistan or Russia greatest ally? I agree. Rape-based Pakistan.
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? Go on.
Yes, that's the best question.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, yeah. So I think you've brought up the free speech minister that's been appointed there. That's an interesting thing to cover. I think a lot of people were some people were pessimistic, but some people were quite optimistic regarding that. I think it's a sign of like, I suppose the Tory government being pushed to the right by like popular forces, right? But I don't know, these kind of institutions, you kind of get the feeling that they won't necessarily stand up to stand up for everyone. You sort of feel like, obviously we're not in control of institutions in a lot of ways. So does anyone have any thoughts on the free speech minister at all? But anyone?
Fucking nothing's gonna change, mate. There's way much more messier things going on. I mean, 10 years for protest and a free speech minister doesn't go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Right. Louis, got any thoughts on free speech and the free speech minister at all? Any takes on that? Or
I'm just gonna have a quick look first. I tend to keep my nose out of the media because a lot of it's just dribble.
I keep trying to get rid of all the comments. It's just because my browser's pretty slow.
Right. How the fuck I can't actually comment. I'm not even horny, Brian. Fuck off. Oh,
Did you get bullied in the chat? All right.
I'm going to get
Okay.
bullied today.
um,
Literally, Limbu, don't come into voice chat tomorrow. You'll chill.
Yeah, that's fine.
I can throw this out that it seems to be rather interesting just thinking about it now. Everyone's going to be lauding, oh, free speech is coming back. Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, I've got a feeling this guy is not really going to do much, and it's more of a watch the birdie sort of thing. It's like it's breadcrumbs for the pigeons, and by the pigeons I mean the population, essentially, to sort of say, oh, look, we're doing what you want. And then it's just like sort of hand waving away the actual issues. So I don't think cancel culture is going to go anywhere, as it's referred to. And ultimately, this guy is not going to actually do anything. He's probably not got any powers to do anything at all.
It's like I saw in the press there was a lot of like ranting about. There's been, I think Keir Starmer was complaining that there's a very high penalty for damaging statues, right? I think it's like I think it was a maximum of 10 years in prison. He's saying, oh well, minimum for rape is 5 years, but the maximum for tearing down a statue is 10 years. But the thing is, like, those statues can still come down democratically, right? So
correct, yes.
Definitely, yeah. But that's the council's decision, not the dude who's showing up to a protest with a death wish and a cause.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm above like damaging personal property. Like, if anyone's ever see, yeah, let's just say that. But I don't think wrecking statues or historical monuments is the way to get a cause across.
No, that's quite right.
It's something that most people will do on a night out. Throw a spin in a river, or I've got a photo album of dumb shit I've done pissed. I'll make a compilation on YouTube.
Don't do that. That's a terrible idea.
Oh boy, I'll message you.
This is literally 1984. This is Philip Sidney Ridley. It's the meme. All right, we can just say it just to irritate Aussie. It's literally 1984, guys.
I've genuinely got no peaches right now. Like, if they've unfrozen peaches, they better be fucking chill, man.
Peaches, my dude, peaches. Well, the thing is, again, with the statues thing, right? Does it particularly matter, you know, if you can get 10 years in prison for damaging it, if the council's going to take it down anyway, right?
I don't think it should be 10 years. I think I'm going to actually have to agree with Starmer here. Like, pay for the fucking statue, but don't give a more sentence than the dude who's just gone out and lifted a child off the street. There is definitely something like that.
Well, I mean, the rapist charge is too light anyway. It should be death personally, but you know.
Yeah,
that's based.
It's just, you know, death penalty. The same thing for like paedophiles. It's just a lack of morals that enforces the culture. So as a result, people are very soft on these sort of things.
Well, I think I don't know. Again, an answer to like stop like, you know, all this criminal stuff and things like that is stronger, you know, religious morality, right? Because I think it's statistically proven that like people with a religious background on the whole commit less crime or far less crime, right? Just because they like, you know, have a moral basis and, you know, have something to connect their morality to, and obviously they believe that they'll one day be divinely judged, right? So I think, you know, we have to sort of increase the level of spirituality in society in order to help that. I think obviously as a Christian, I think that people should be Christian, but I mean, it's
something we're going to see when the census results come out in a few weeks. Is there still a strong backbone of religious people in the UK?
I think I said, I think a couple of weeks ago that there's some councils in you know, London that have taken Christian off as a you know, option because there's so few Christians in some areas. So
a shame.
2021 census. That's obviously the results.
Have we all filled out the census, or we get hit with a grand fine?
Grand fine.
Fucking idiot.
Did you put British or English? That's the big question. Don't have to
I
say.
put British. I gen put British because I'm trying to get I'm trying to move to Scotland. Nice weather.
Nice weather in Scotland.
Yeah, it's lovely. The air is right. So I grew up in a massive city. So when I went up to Scotland, like the air's clean. It's a bit wet, but I'm also packed
the air's
with like 4 layers of.
The
air's
air's cleaner.
The air's
The
cleaner
air's
in plenty of bits of the country. I mean, I suppose it probably is
clearly
clean.
doing work in Birmingham.
I mean, it's cleaner, but a bit whiffy. But there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, 2021 census will prove replacement. Yeah, it probably will. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like there was this whole thing about people putting down European as well, wasn't there? Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of people putting out European as a sexuality. I can't even fucking say it. Sexuality. We've also seen a few people putting Jedi as their gender at this point.
Well, it could be a mix of people being so, moronic that they genuinely believe that, or it's just them at the point where they're just so atomized people, they just don't care anymore.
There's a few people who put like racial slurs and like. I do know. No one at my work, but definitely John McNamara. I'm not saying that. But there's a lot of people who just like throwing in racial slurs or like 3% as the job title.
They should do that with voting cards. Boris Johnson is a book.
Well, I think I don't know. Like to an extent, like I could understand putting European because obviously I am a European, right? There are some people who have the take that like Britain is not in Europe. Britons are not Europeans. I don't know where this take comes from, but there's a handful of people that do make it. But I am a European at the end of the day. But like this concept of a European identity is now so tied to like the European Union, I suppose, which is this like liberal internationalist institution that obviously isn't Europe itself, but it's kind of strange because in some countries, like in Malta, for example, there's like this Imperium Europa party, right? And they're like, yeah, pan-Europeanism, and like we're Christian and we're white or whatever, but and over here it has a very, very different connotation. It's interesting, but does anyone here not consider themselves to be European? I don't know. Maybe I'm arguing with imaginary arguments.
Well, I have a question for you. And it's not, and I'm not asking this to you as an individualist. I mean, collectively, do you think a European identity is more important than a British one?
Just so I answer first. Well, identity's on different levels, isn't it? So I suppose like I'm English. I suppose I don't know. I'm from the southwest, so I'd say I'm like I'm Devonian first. Then I'm English, then I'm British, then I'm European, then I'm a human being or something.
I tell you what, though, if you go to a lot of European countries, there's a massive sense of national pride. I mean, the Dutch, they'll get up, they'll sing the national anthem, there'll be flags everywhere. Then you'll end up like pissed at 2 a.m. Like, spewing in a sink.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure that's true. I think that, because of the whole World War II thing that happened on Europe, I think to an extent there's a kind of anti-patriotic sentiment, I guess. Like when I went to Germany, they have over here we don't have cigarette advertisements, right? They're not.
Oh, they have these vending machines.
Yeah, like they have cigarette advertisements like pretty much everywhere, and the sole reason for it, and I'm not making this up, the sole reason that cigarette advertisements are not banned in Germany is because they want to do one over the Austrian painter. So I mean, they have, and I think I saw one German flag, and I was there for like a week, and that was just in like some apartment block window. So
I've seen more posters saying where the hell is Auschwitz? No, I have German flags when I was in Germany. I've actually heard of a few. I know there's like a lot of prostitution in Germany. Actually, I've heard some fun stories about that.
So Squaddy Buck is accusing me of being Cornish. I am related to the great Holman family, the Holman brothers, great Cornish engineers, but it's a bit of a stretch to say I'm Cornish. I think I'd only be like 1/8 or 1/16 Cornish, so I'm not really Cornish.
Yeah,
Is this panel diverse? They do have a cool flag. Do you know they nicked that flag from the Bretons? It's not even Cornish. They took it from people that literally raided Cornwall. So,
lovely.
literally taking on their invaders' flags. It's like the Empire, I suppose, but I mean, kind of reversed. Anyway, what was the other thing we were talking about? No one else has answered the question. Does anyone think that a pan-European identity is possible, or it's more important than the British
It's
identity?
only
course not.
it's only possible if you completely smash apart all the other identities, and then you have to artificially build one from the start. I mean, that's the entire idea of Esperanto as a pan-European identity. Esperanto specifically is a language. This is like mixed between German, French, and English, I think. Something that what's his name now? George Soros. He's a native speaker of Esperanto. It's a weird language, but that's essentially what pan-Europeanism would be. However, do I think it's actually possible in reality? No, I don't. You've got to do immeasurable damage to the pre-existing societies to then bring it about. Following that, the identity is so wide that it doesn't have many legs to stand on. You have to artificially keep it up all the time.
Can we pull up Squatty Barker's comments just to back up my statement?
Columbrian, right? My browser's really slow.
Yeah,
Paderborn has loads of prosy places and German wigging paying for British Army cars.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's true. Right, we're talking about Esperanto, so there's something that you can all see about Esperanto. This is there was this whole thing in between the First and Second World War where they set up this. Is it on screen? Should be. Yes. There we go. So this was a country they literally set up just to try and get them to all speak Esperanto. I think it was between Belgium, Germany, and I can't remember what the third country was. I think it might have been France. Yeah, no, Holland, Belgium, and Prussia, as was. They set up a whole country just to try and get them to speak Esperanto, but I don't think it worked. But anyway,
yeah, if you ever get a chance to visit places like Luxembourg, definitely take the chance. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever had the chance to go to.
Ban Esperanto. Don't try and change my mind. Cool. Right. So not everyone has answered the question. What's the general perspective on whether or not a pan-European identity is possible?
No, it's not possible. I was going to expand on that. It's not possible because, like I said, you've got to break apart the actual organic identities, and you can't have an identity that's that broad. It's just not possible without using a large amount of physical force. You're forcing it onto the people that you're essentially ruling over, like a tyrant, like an actual tyrant. The local, if I remember correctly, an individual person can only have somewhere in the range of about 50 to 100 people that they can actually actively remember. So trying to have people that you know in your local area, because you're not going to be some person that flies, oh, today I'm going to be living in Germany, the next week I'm living in France, and then the next month I'm going to be down in Italy. People don't live like that. They're required to live in local communities of people that are similar to them, whether that be in religion, genetics, or sort of temperament, even so emotionally. But in that regard, the temperament of a German is completely different to the temperament of an Italian, a Frenchman, or even an Englishman. That's the entire point where we get stereotypes from.
Because as well as that, there's been this whole thing, I think, especially in these spheres, about like making Scandinavia one country. Like people think, oh, it's going to happen within the next 15 years. But in reality, right, those countries are very, very different in terms of temperament, in terms of culture, in terms of language. So I mean, they're very, very. I think the number one failure with like the European project is that like the histories of Prussia, the German tradition, Poland, Hungary, Britain, all these different countries have such great traditions that you can't really put them into one state because their mindsets are just totally different. So, I mean, I don't think it would work long term. I'm in favor of European cooperation, though. I think it's totally necessary, especially with a declining population. Right? I think white Europeans are now like 7 or 6% of the global population. Right, so we do need to stick together in that regard. But yeah, what did Ozzy say? Ozzy always has some interesting takes.
Can I expand on what Ozzy said?
Right, so I'll read out what Ozzy said first.
Anyway, can you?
The European coagulation is unnatural and has only occurred as a consequence of European people being outnumbered in a global sense. European identity is bizarre and, at best, dangerous at worst. Anyway, do you want to expand on that, Napoleon?
Yeah, sure. Not only is it unnatural, it's also immoral. The first, well, I wouldn't say exactly the first time, but the only real time that there's been not really a political union between all of Europe, kind of like a military one, was when all the Balkan states banded together to back off the Muslims because they were Christians, except the Albanians because the Albanians were Muslims. And you see, like, throughout all of history, the only time Europe has really come together under like a kind of a, not really so much as a European identity, but kind of just like an empire or something, has always resulted in massive conflict. And I can give you a couple of examples, such as the Swedish Empire when Gustav Vasa went through Europe when he was creating the Swedish Empire. He basically brought all those states together, and obviously the Swedish Empire doesn't exist today. It got broke up. A lot of people died for it, and even more states came after that as a result. Yeah, and another example is Napoleon's empire, which he tried to. There was basically 6 wars over it, 6 wars of the coalition, and even after that, there was a massive period of peace in Europe after those wars, and even more nations were created after that. So even like a military union isn't like a military and a political union together at once is not possible. And also a political union isn't feasible because we have a European Parliament that no one even likes. So to try and get everyone under a pan-European identity, I think is never going to happen, whether it be military or political or they're both combined.
Right.
That's my
I'm going to perhaps say something controversial here. I think because of the European Parliament being elected on I think it's proportional representation they elected on. I can't remember the exact system. It might just be proportional representation. But I think that being there, obviously you saw Farage and UKIP. I think he won 2 elections as UKIP and then won the big one as the Brexit Party, which he won by about 15 points, right? And you wouldn't have been able to do that in a first past the post system. So I think in terms of like if you're like an edgy right winger or whatever. Right, then I think that having an elected chamber, even with some level of power, even if it's not particularly powerful, just to have some level of elected representative. Obviously, there's the Welsh Assembly as well. Brexit Party, I think, have 3 seats in the Welsh Assembly. Oh no, they haven't anymore. They've gone to the abolished the Welsh Assembly Party, but in essence, they have 3 MEPs or 3 members of the Welsh Parliament. Sorry. So I don't know. I think to an extent, like as well, the European, the whole Brexit thing has sort of, in many ways, sort of drained the populist energy out of the people of this country, right? So a lot of you can look at Europe and see, is my microphone the wrong way around? It is, so I probably sound horrible because my microphone was the wrong way around. But there you go. Right now I sound crisp and clean, and you will hear my amazing takes. Right. So Germany and like Sweden and even you can see Holland quite recently. They had their election just over the last week. They've advanced in a lot in sort of terms of like having these like sort of populist right wing or proper conservative parties come into power, and that's because they haven't had the populist energy or the right wing energy taken out by Brexit. I think Brexit has held us back because we've been so focused on this European question. We've not been able to tackle the other things, and we're a long way behind. The AfD I think is now the 3rd largest party in Germany. It's now a power broker in Berlin. They've got strong big strongholds in Eastern Germany around the Dresden area and places like that. So I think it has held us back in some regard, but we can hear everyone else's thoughts on that as well if you want.
What is the ADF?
Hang on 1 second.
Is it like a centrist party?
AFD.
Party.
No,
AFD
AFD are like
It's a right-wing conservative
right wing. Yeah.
government.
game.
Sorry, party, not government. Bloody hell.
Party.
Yeah. But I think it's a serious white pill to see how well they're doing. I think they're getting quite a high percentage of votes in European elections. Obviously, they've got strongholds there, areas where they're winning seats and things like that. So, but I don't know. I think some people. I think obviously you can see in the chat that people have got mixed opinions on the AFD. But I mean, I think to an extent they have been pushing German nationalism, populism and things like that. So it's a sign that there is still energy in Europe in general. Perhaps not in Britain, obviously, because of the Brexit question. But can someone give us some positive news? Anyone got any positive news?
Positive news.
Hit the
Right.
gym.
Positive
Hit.
news.
Well, not news. I've got some advice for him if he wants that. Hit the gym. Do exercise. Be in a caloric surplus. Eat plenty of food. Don't eat fast food crap. Don't concern yourself over. Don't worry yourself over, I ain't got a bird, I ain't got this, I ain't got that. Don't worry about that. Just focus on what you're doing in the short term, and then have a rough idea of what you want in the long term. Just also get off as much social media as you can, and only keep what you actually need. If you want to talk to some people that are similar to you, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm done.
Very cool.
Fair enough.
All right. Pity German Secret Service spying on them. Yeah, but I think that's being cleared now because there's no evidence for that. All right,
Yeah.
what else we?
Thing you can do is just take 10 days off of. I went off of Snapchat and Instagram, and somehow my life got a tiny bit better. But I've been sober for 4 weeks, so yeah. I've also started going to church.
Very cool, man.
Based.
Beautiful.
I want to get shit faced.
It is Lent still, so I mean. Anyway, so I think the next thing on the agenda, I think, is the and unless anyone else wants to give any thoughts, but is there was a big protest yesterday in London for the anti-lockdown thing. You can see there's quite a lot of people in London. Obviously, there's also been the protest bill. Now, I spoke to Ataman on I think it was Iron Duke's stream yesterday. And he said he thinks the anti-protest bill is a good thing because largely left-wingers protest, right-wingers very rarely protest. I don't agree with that, but is there anyone here who would say that they agreed that an anti-protest bill is a good thing for the moment?
No, it's not. It's
Okay.
stupid.
I haven't really read on the bill itself, so
No.
I would need to get more formulated information on it and read the bill itself before I can give information on it.
I know there's quite a few Conservative MPs who are opposed to it. There's Dominic Swale came out against it. There's a few other people as well, but I don't know. I've not personally read it either, to be honest. But I mean, I think I don't know. You can see people use the word tyranny a lot, but I don't know. I was kind of. It's there was this whole thing with the reaction to the Sarah Everard thing, right? There was the big reaction to the cracking down on the vigil, obviously, because technically they have broken the law, but I mean they should, in my mind, I'm in favour of people being allowed to protest and things like that. But obviously the Metropolitan Police have been cracking down on protests all summer and all year, right? They've been cracking down on anti-lockdown protests, on any kind of protest, and they pick up the Sarah Everard thing.
Yeah.
And
it's a bit of an insult. You shouldn't be giving police more power, especially once shit like this is kicking off, where we're seeing forced entry to homes, no warrants, on-the-spot fines up to, 200 quid is that at the moment, or is that £1,000? I haven't actually gotten it, but it's going to get to the point where we're going to want to start protesting our side. It could be pro-life or preaching or bloody ban the road sign or whatever. And
the
we're going to
gypsy
get
stuff
shut
in the bill
down.
was funny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
I still, I just keep seeing all this stuff. Partially because my sister comes out of it, but partially because of it's well, this is descent into fascism. It's just please stop. I can't deal with calling everything fascism anymore. It's just so tiresome. It's all fascism, guys.
I don't think it is fascist. I think you need a more accurate term. It's it's like a police state mixed with an
Can we bring out
oligarchy.
the writing comments from Mr. Old Albion?
Oh, there's rioting in Bristol.
Yes, there's currently rioting in Bristol at the minute, and obviously
Why the fuck's there rioting in Bristol?
It's a good question. So
Why
I think
not?
it was a protest against
Anti-lockdown.
kill the bill. Yeah, no. It's kill the bill. It was kill the bill protest.
They killed the bill, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they
so
actually
they
gonna
told-
kill any bills, or like as in, are they actually gonna kill police officers, or is this just a?
Well, it's not bill as in
What the
reference to
fuck do
police.
they mean
it's-
by
it's-
kill the bill?
The
Kill the
protest.
cop.
I'd like probably scrap it.
Protest, the bill to do with the protests, right? So there we go.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good to watch. I've
So
never been.
the people there are protesting about the recent protesting bill that the government has obviously wanted to put through. I would just say, think about it like this, right? When has a law in the UK that's been implemented actually then been revoked? I mean, we can look at the what's it called now? What tax is it now?
Poll tax, community tax.
No, not poll tax. It's before that. It's oh bugger.
The window tax.
No, it's not. No, it's none of these famous taxes because these got repealed afterwards. It's VAT, for example. VAT tax. That was a tax that was supposed to be implemented temporarily to assist with rebuilding, right? And then they just kept it. Right. So the government has got a long track record. This is just one example, but there's multiple. This is just one example of where you're going to have the government enforcing new laws that are going to be designed to keep the peace when it's got nothing to do with that. It's to do with cracking down on people resisting the state. The protests being an example of it. Obviously, if you're allowing people to run out in the state and they're filming what's happening, it can draw up populist sentiment against the government, which undermines their ability to get voted into power. So, bear that in mind when this bill is getting put through. It's not being put through to keep the peace. It's getting put through to keep the population in line. Effectively, I wouldn't be surprised if it's some sort of martial. In the long run, it will result in eventually some form of martial law being implemented in the UK.
There we go.
We're pretty finicky about getting on the street.
Yeah.
For now, they are. For now, they're very finicky about
it. Well, anyway, it seems, I don't know, not overly spicy, but there's a few people, chucking things about. But
at least there's no end towers in the chat.
They've got a lot of police vans out now. I'm just watching another one, which is from Ruplo Live. It's a bit later on, obviously, but it's just lots and lots of police vans. The people are spray painting the vans, kicking them, getting rowdy with police.
Fucking good boys.
Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 police vans? I can see, like the big ones.
That's
on this
London.
one street.
There's some people there sat down, woman having a cry. Oh. Do you want to wear my scarf? Okay. There's a guy with the dreadlocks. Pretty typical.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'd say
Jesus kicking him out.
But you can just see this is the kind of like protester phenotype, isn't it? And you've got some. All right, let's go through the police lines.
Go on, boys. Now, I am just curious though, because I know that one of the tactics that the government will be using, or at least the police will, on the proviso the government's told them to do it, is they'll have little agents put in to sort of kick off violence. So if there's any media outlets talking about this, how it's getting violent or anything like that, it's been artificially done. So it's not the actual people doing it. They've got plants in there to kick it off.
Ozzy's right. I'm against protest. I think it's just asking for trouble.
Oh,
and these people are. This is unacceptable behaviour. But I mean, It is. I mean, to be
It's just
fair,
a
millions,
massive
a
doom pill.
lot of people have watched it. So I mean, okay.
Well,
That's
it is, but it's understandable why
When-
they're protesting.
Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, people's lives have been totally wrecked by this, haven't they? So,
No,
I mean,
it's never going to end.
no, look at this horrible behaviour as we continue to watch it. Right, that's enough now. But yeah, the same people who put, yeah, it looks like it. To be honest, this is the kind of phenotype.
I mean, they most likely are, definitely. I won't deny that.
They all have like the same
Yeah,
kind of
never-
coats and dresses as well, don't they? But,
Never ever going to stop big government.
I was thinking about it
Massive
like this though. This was another angle that I came at it from. Is a protest is effectively a procession of people, right? And usually within like protests, I'm sure if anyone's ever been to one, I haven't, but I know that there's usually like some dreadlock wearing guy with a tambourine going. If it was like Black Lives Matter, going Black Lives Matter, boom, 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 right? So, but it's
Yeah.
very droning music. The point is, though, it's a procession. So you've got a bunch of people that are sort of getting energized by this environment. They have an intent of going somewhere, and within that process of going from one place to another, the energy picks up as it goes along. And this energy, if it's harnessed by somebody, so by anybody, it can be manipulated and shifted in certain ways. And I think this is another way to look at this protest bill. It's not just about preventing people from protesting, from rioting, from doing this, that, and other. It's actually to shut down on any ability for a populist movement to come about, any sort of actual group of people or any people that can show themselves as leaders to make or come up with a different direction for the nation. So it's essentially trying
Absolutely.
to bottleneck everyone down into this build back better scheme, right?
Yeah, are we fuck going to be doing that? I think it's definitely going to push people to the point of, can I say, Fed posting?
Aren't you literally like you're the biggest Fed poster ever? Anyway, whatever.
Have you never seen me drunk?
I don't want to. Anyway,
Anyone who's ever seen me like Fed post drunk in the voice chat, please just share your experience in the comments.
do you- this guy put his thing as moderate in the Britannic Discord server. Anyway,
No,
you've
I-
misled the population.
That wasn't
I'm joking. I'm joking.
a hard line,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
bastard.
But,
The next one.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to protest, there's never been, a successful. I mean, there's the Gurkha Justice Campaign, which is probably the only example that you can give that's a positive example of protesting. But I mean, all the mass protests. You had the Iraq War March, which 1.1 million people went on. I've not got the stream up anyway, but yeah. So you had 1.1 million people march against the Iraq War, did absolutely nothing. If anything, it just makes your cause look worse in a way. Obviously, you had the English Defence League.
People get really salty about the Iraq War. When you look at the stories and the fucking weird shit that was actually going on in terms of civil rights in Iraq, it was definitely. Have you ever heard of Udi Hussein?
Yeah, he was mental, that guy.
Yeah, the fact that he was even allowed to run rampant is a fucking sign that things were bad.
Well, I don't know. I think in terms of the Middle East, you have two choices, don't you? You have either Arab nationalists or Islamic fundamentalists, right? There's no real third option. Because I mean, there's no such thing as a democracy in the Middle East other than obviously Israel. But wow, okay.
Turning point UK.
Turning point UK take. That was a turning point UK take, but it is the correct take. But, I mean, I'm not pro Israel, just in case you're wondering. But Sabu Sudi Yasada Sabi Chudi Bahaya Salu Sudi Abasha. Anyway, sorry. What were we even talking about? I've forgotten. Oh yeah, protests. Has anyone else got any thoughts on protests?
So we may fucking hate some of them, but you need to let them go ahead. Otherwise, when we start trying to fucking save the babies or save the church or save the road signs, then, well, we're fucked.
Yeah. When you start, it's a slippery slope. You should just let them have protests, but when you take it away, it'll just lead down into other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't hate protesters, don't like fucking bears.
Protesters just don't like them. Just don't like them. Simple as. Anyway, I've lost 99 Iron Duke. He made a good comment. I forgot what it was. The British police. I'll try to do it in Australian accent, shall I? And it'll sound really dreadful. Right, where is it?
He's
I've lost it.
Australian?
Why has that gone on screen? Oh, hang on. The British police are much keener to lay into. The British police are much keener to lay into white British public when they are protesting than they are to lay into BLM or Asian grooming gangs. Do you like my
that is
accent?
correct. Yeah.
Thank you. It was a good accent. I agree. Limbu, thank you very much. Well, no, I'm doing his accent, not necessarily just an Australian one.
Yeah. If you want a more authentic.
There was an issue a few years ago in which British police officers lost several mobile phones that
Sorry about that.
would have helped my case greatly. They physically lost them at the crime scene.
Sorry about that.
Oh, excuse me.
My mic got disconnected.
Excuse me, James.
Anyway, what was the point you were making, Louis?
I was just it's too late now. I was going to be a little trite joke. I can't make it now.
Dead air. Never mind. Anyway, yeah, you're totally right. I mean, these institutions are on our side, right? It's kind of a correct take to say, like, we're in general in favor of law and order, right? We're right wingers at the end of the day. We should be supportive. Well, I know obviously not currently because the police are an occupied institution, but I mean, in theory, we should be supportive of law and order, right? So,
just that post.
Just Fed post. Okay, fine.
I think in regards to like right wingers, I don't think there's any. I think there should be some investment into the system to try and create something out of it. But at the same time, if you're talking about that's on more like a sort of group level. If you're talking more sort of individually for yourself and maybe for friends and everything else, like you just need to sort of detangle yourself personally from a lot of the system. Do you understand what I'm trying to say there? I understand it's saying part of it, but not at the same time.
Well, yeah, I mean, detaching oneself from, I think to an extent, people do it anyway by stop consuming things like, I don't know, mainstream, sort of entertainment and things like that. That's to an extent detaching yourself, isn't it? But I don't know, I don't think it's necessarily the right call to detach totally.
No, I'm not saying totally. You shouldn't detach totally, but it's on an individual level. You should be trying to make something with a group of people.
Well,
right?
yeah.
So there's something after. I don't know how long this entire system is going to last, and it seems to me all this rubbish that the World Economic Forum and other people, including the British government, everything that they're going down, it's the people that they're bringing into the system now, they're not smart enough, they're not talented enough, and they don't have really the work ethic to keep it upright. If you get what I'm saying.
It's bio-Leninism at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's bio-Leninism. Like the actual system is getting more reliant on bio-Leninism, but that in itself will bring it to its knees if it can't shoot past. If it doesn't hit this, what is it? The technological singularity. If it doesn't hit that, then it's it's all down the drain.
So I think most people probably be asking, what do you mean by technological singularity? I think it's from land, isn't it?
It's partly to do with land and other bits of NRX theory, but technological singularity would be where you've got some form of very basic artificial intelligence that's able to automate a lot of your systems, like your infrastructure, electrical grid, all this sort of stuff.
Like Skynet.
It's like, well, it's not really like Skynet. It's more like it's a slightly more advanced version of what the Chinese currently have for their social credit system, where they've got like cameras and they can track your face, scan you, boom, and it brings up some information about that person then and there, because it's tracking everything at all times. I mean, most of your phones already do it.
Yeah.
I noticed it with my brother's phone when I was just using it to take a picture of something, and it put these little boxes around some things, and I just thought to myself, well, that looks oddly familiar to like it was identifying what it was then and there.
Mm.
So it's just more advanced version of that with, and then you just pair that with a lot of other bits of information that everyone's got on the internet. So that would be like purchasing data. That'd be the cookies that you use when you go on sites, when you allow that. It's you can link it all together and get a very rough view of what you as an individual are, and then that's the reason why, obviously, this is probably nothing new. This is the reason why when you go on Amazon, after you've just typed in like a book on the internet, and then you go on Amazon, and then you might get suggested the book that you were just looking at, because Google and Amazon share the data, and it's used to create a better image of what you are. So it's easy to sell products to you.
Yeah, it's really sick, and you have to. I don't know why people keep stuff like Echoes and Alexas in the house. It's a fucking surveillance risk as it is.
It's like standard of living. Standard of living so high, and people are just most people have just bought into the consumerist rubbish, really. I wouldn't even say it's. I suppose you could say it's an ideology, but
Yeah.
so people understand what I'm trying to get at with this, and then I'll finish off with something else. Somebody else just.
The road diesel. So Iron Duke said people need to routinely start using VPNs. I mean, you need more than a VPN really to be totally.
Well, it depends on your combination, because if you're a deep web browser, using VPN and Tor combined will lead to a backdoor that you can be traced by. But using Tor by itself is going to leave you much harder to track. I mean, you can still be phished, you can still be Trojans, but it's just going to be a lot more difficult to find.
Just don't fed post. Just don't fed post. It's not hard. And then you won't be. Anyway, we haven't gone around to Limbu. Any thoughts on anything we've discussed so far? Protesting, anything like that? Crime laws, Limbu. You've always got some good takes, so we'll go to you.
Good takes. Well, on the topic of the anti-protest bill, whether that is, I think this could be one of Boris's downfalls. This could be like Thatcher's trade unionist problem, or like I mentioned earlier, like a poll tax issue, which it'll be interesting as well how Starmer will take advantage of the situation as well. I mean, I think he's made a statement, but I haven't read about it. On the other issues of just protesting in general, I mean, just protesting is not going to work, to be honest. What I've seen the whole collaboration. Now, it just leads up to the government making a statement, and then it just dies down. It doesn't work.
Well, yeah, I think historically you can say that, certainly, other than of course the Gurkha Justice Campaign. But
that's based. What else? So, I had something on my mind about. So when. I think it was quite petty from protesters to breach the coronavirus regulations, in my opinion. I understand that we're on top of the vaccination rollout game and that the numbers of deaths and other negative rates are dropping, but we must simply not forget it's still around, and it's going to take a few months to get everyone vaccinated and reduce its impact. And something on vaccines. So Johnson & Johnson, the COVID-19 vaccine, apparently it's morally compromised. So from the Archdiocese of New Orleans, essentially it's abortion-derived cell lines.
We got Zumatech in the building. Right, is everyone still here?
Yeah, we're all right. Keep going.
All right, point about
keep going.
We're lagging.
Oh, so it apparently is compromised. I just saw opinions on that, on the Johnson & Johnson vaccination. And apparently, on the Johnson vaccination, the UK government has rejected the vaccination itself, which I commend it. Well done. But on COVAX, so COVAX is essentially the big organization which runs the COVID rollout plans for third world countries, second world countries. Essentially, it's run by WHO and UNICEF. Essentially, they are planning out to roll out Johnson vaccinations. And if people don't see a problem of abortion-derived cell lines as in the vaccination production, I just don't see how moral it is. It's morally corrupt. Like, yeah, that's.
Well, yeah, I mean, they said for a long time that these vaccine passports wouldn't be brought in. I think Michael Gove made the promise that they wouldn't be brought in, and you can see across the continent. Obviously, there's now, I think, a European wide vaccine passport and things like that. But I think you're quite trusting of the vaccine. I think I did drop out there because of my internet is awful this evening. I'm sorry about everyone, but carry on, Callum. Sorry, you go.
So I'm pretty trusting of it. I'm classed as a healthcare worker, so I got mine in about late January, around that time, and I don't see a big conspiracy. I know I'm like part schizo, part fed poster, but I do not see an issue with a vaccine in general. I think we do have some form of duty to protect the elderly. I don't like dead old people, and I haven't actually visited my grandfather since this shit kicked off.
Me neither. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just don't know what to. I've just done having an opinion on it, to be honest. I think it's been so long. It's so long. Yeah.
I'm not a part-time NHS worker. I'm a medic. It's great.
Well.
Oof.
I don't know. Well,
I think just to address something before anybody jumps on that. I don't think there's like some conspiracy where people that are involved in the NHS are actually in on it and they're going along with it. I think if there is a conspiracy, they're just like anyone else. They just don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I think that's all it is. They're just not told what's happening.
I think there are certainly examples where things are conspiracy, but I tend to lean on most of the time, like I've said before, with fuel stations. Fuel stations sort of set their prices at the same level just so they can all sort of charge the same amount and they don't lose or gain more money than the other person. But I think in a lot of cases it's, as I think Academic Agent did a video on it. It's mainly convergent behaviour, not conspiracy. But
well, no, it is, because there's people that want to make money out of all of this. But the question then resides is that why is it just called convergent behaviour? Where's the fire?
Well, yeah,
all the animals are running in one direction, but why?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's difficult again because obviously there's I don't know who benefits from the coronavirus stuff, right? I think there's very questionable, but
World Economic Forum sort of people, like I'm talking super transnational people.
Yeah.
Ultimately, and then the people that make the vaccines, they make money out of it. That's all they care about. Local government, they get people to vote for them. That's all they care about. Local manufacturing, well, they get to stay in business a little bit longer, so there's money for them as business. That's all they care about.
I'll tell you.
Sorry, carry on.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, you go, Napoleon.
I'll tell you who's benefiting from all this, and it's got to be the government, because they've been getting all kind of emergency powers from this, and they're getting a bunch of different people registered for a bunch of different things. So it all works. For them. I don't know one single person in government who's been negatively affected, say economically or in terms of politics, by coronavirus. I don't know a single one, because everyone's been distracted with a whole bunch of different shit, and everyone's been passing a bunch of different bills that have gone basically under the nose of the public. They're not going to let this go. This is going to go on forever because the lockdowns is not going to lift at all.
I think we're going to get another one.
Yeah, we are. We're going to get many more. I can tell you that we're going to get.
I'm
It
not
just won't
sure,
end.
but
No, I
maybe
think
you're
we're
right.
going- well, I recall
Yeah,
there was
it's a mixed
lab
bag.
one.
I think it will eventually come to an end just because it's hurting a lot of people's back pockets, right? And I don't see who's benefiting from it. Obviously, you can say, big
Amazon.
corp. Well, yeah, but I mean,
Amazon, you've got smaller.
Well,
I've started noticing on ads. This is usually through YouTube, but I've noticed on ads there's a lot more sort of delivery companies. Like one of them is called Parcel Monkey. I've noticed that one's getting advertised more and more and more. You'd have to check on like all the stock exchanges and see who's had an increase. Really?
well, there's been a decline in global wealth anyway. But I mean, you could say,
Yeah, but it's been centralized.
I struggle to see a lot of important people are losing quite a lot of money, and I think there is a
Well, they're
general
not-
interest.
Which ones?
Well,
I
yeah,
think
exactly.
it's okay. I think
Carry on,
it's
carry on.
Contractors and Tories
Carry
in
on.
the middle benefited more than anyone else could have during this pandemic. Especially in the UK, like £2 million for a briefing room. Come on. There's something sketchy about that. It's not.
Well, it's just a briefing room. Anyway, Limbu, you got something to say, haven't you? So you go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care who's profiting off it, or who's doing whatnot with economics. To be honest, I would just personally want a safer Britain rather than a free Britain which still has a chance to mess up with COVID and lockdown. So I think everyone should just bite the bullet right now. And
I'm
just
not
like,
taking.
I mean,
I'm not taking it.
yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, I see dodgy things. I mean, I was looking up theories myself, and they weren't looking compelling, but they did have some kind of logical
I'm not.
benefit
Well, it's
behind
not
it.
even that. The thing for me is that the actual vaccines, you can't sue the government or the companies if anything goes wrong. That's the big key one. They have legal indemnity. That was actually put as a small print in some of the COVID legislation, along with what was the bill that got put in through COVID legislation? This was in this mentioned 15th of October.
Coronavirus.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's referred to as black bag laws. This is effectively where the government voted in Parliament 313 votes to 98 negative. This vote essentially it's covert human intelligence sources criminal conduct bill has passed its third reading in Parliament, 313 votes to 98. It's hugely worrying. This is in quotes. It's hugely worrying that we're a step closer to seeing this deeply dangerous bill become law. MPs are signing off on a license for government agencies to authorise torture and murder, giving such disturbing powers to bodies including MI5 and the police could have. So effectively, the entire point of this bill is it allows this was put under COVID legislation. So this is effectively allowing the government via MI5 and the police to lock up dissidents, people that don't agree with the government, basically allow them to lock them up, torture them for any information. So this would be like if they know other people and they're in certain circles, lock them up, torture them, and then dispose of them. And the public the family of this person has no legal ability to obviously find the government and deal with what they've done. You can't. There's no legal repercussions.
That's the kind of legislation that I'm talking about when they say that they just pass through things and it goes under our noses and we can't say no to it.
Just another reason to hate clones, lads. You know these MI5 glowies, they glow in the dark, and if you see one, just hit them with his car.
Glow things.
The forced lockdowns are also aiding the idea of a cashless society and universal basic income, and some of the universities people that travel overseas. Well, we'll see. I think to be honest, like similar with the what was it? Similar with the get Brexit done sort of thing. I think people generally will probably just bite the bullet at the end of the day, just because they wanted to get it all over with. But
yeah, that's the entire point.
Yeah.
It's to make everyone so uncomfortable, right? So you've got everyone based on a consumer-based living,
Yeah.
right? The word consumer literally refers to someone who squanders or wastes, right? Or one that uses up goods or articles, one who destroys the exchangeable value of a commodity using it. That's from early 15th century, coming from consume. But that's in economics. In economics, it refers to people just eating up resources for the sake of it, essentially. And then consumerism is just a system, practice, or tradition of consuming things, essentially. But the word consumerism is from 1922, and it's made up by communists, just as the word capitalist was by communists. The point being, anyways, people are inculcated in this consumerist set of values and these ideas. You know, oh, I just want to go on holiday and I want to spend 10 grand with me and my family if I'm fucking going to Spain, right? Bugger what happens in the nation. I don't care. I'm going on holiday, right? So instead they do that, instead of caring about what's happening to their actual home country. And then what then ends up happening is, well, if you've got COVID, this has come in. This virus is killing people, and people are getting harmed, and the economy's down the drain. They can't go on holiday anymore. Oh, but look, we just take this passport. Just take this Just agree to like take this vaccine, and then take this passport and do this and do that. Okay, I just and the people do it purely because they just want to go back on holiday.
There's
They don't care about.
definitely been a push, or I think too many people like pleasure seeking, if you know what I mean. There's not anyone who's willing to sort their life out or make a change. Holy fuck, I'm just looking at some of the pictures from Bristol and shit's on fire, boys.
Yeah, I think I saw one on. I might have to leave and rejoin again and get Chrome up. For some reason, that browser, it just crashes my computer. I don't know why. I might get it for a minute. You can see it on Sky News. But...
Police officers suffer as broken arms as limbs as kill the Bill protests and violence. Now, they showed up to kill the Bill, and now they're actually killing the Bill.
Hey, 1-0. What?
So just to like Jim Bob's question there, I don't know if that was posted at me, but yeah, I am being serious with black bag laws. Like it was something that the government passed. So the entire passport thing. I apologize to anyone watching if I'm talking too much. I do apologize.
Right, we come back. Right, okay, I'm just.
I mean, the passports. If you think about it, it's the. So I mentioned earlier about essentially the world governments, not the world government, but the governments around the world. They want access to people's genetic information, so then it's easier to then track them down. You can use the face and everything else, and you've got a genetic profile of them, so you can attach it to that using the social credit system that China uses, but then you use it in your own countries. If you have a genetic code, then essentially mean genetic code for that person, you can track them at all times. And if you have that with a passport, where you have to show that to say that, oh, look, I've been vaccinated, I've had this, I've done that. So you can't go. So essentially, they're closing down any ability for you to move anywhere. And I don't know if it's going to be on a local level. Like you can't buy a house if you don't have this. If you don't have this like piece of ID saying that I've got this.
I don't think anyone can buy a house in this economy. Like I'm on like 24 grand a year, and I still don't have fucking any chance.
I think it's actually easier to get a house now than it ever has been because the entire economy is buggered, so everything's a little bit cheaper.
Wait a couple months so the entire market crashes, and then invest in a house.
You do just like get a mortgage for a house, and then if the entire economy crashes, you just get stuck with the house because the bank's not going to say, "Oh well, we're going to kick you out." Do you know what I mean?
Wow, look at that! Oof.
Whoa,
that's kicking off.
Wow.
Mind you, it's not
Northern
an
Ireland
lockdown thing. No, that's
Bristol.
Oh my god, is that
Blimey.
Fuck off.
That's
They're
Bristol.
protesting against the
Disgusting.
protesting against the Tory bill.
All I'm
Yeah,
going to say is,
Yeah.
there's going to be one poor cunt who gets 10 years in prison for this.
The unwashed
Yeah.
masses.
Can you just turn
No,
that
I'm
up?
joking.
I'm just curious, what's this
Right,
woman
hang on.
saying?
So,
Nourished
Shut up,
into
Tom.
violent disorder.
God.
He says these scenes are absolutely disgraceful and
Yeah.
they will be widely
There you
condemned
go.
by police
Pathetic.
across the city. They can
Widely
never be any
condemned.
excuse for wanton disorder.
No
Officers have
excuse.
been subjected to
Absolutely
considerable
these people
levels of
literally
abuse
think
and
they're fighting
violence.
against fascism.
One
It's like,
suffered a
yeah.
broken arm
I
and
really don't
another
know. I'm
suffered
not going to
broken
assume what
ribs.
these
Fuck
people
the
Both
are
have been
fight.
fighting
taken to
against.
hospital. These are
I'm just
men
talking
and
about the
women
woman.
out there with the intention of protecting the public. They should never be subjected to assault.
You can see, yeah, awful.
Did you just pull a feminist angle there? Women in the streets.
Yeah, women in the police force should not be subject to this.
Oh, there we go. Protect the women in the police force. Dude, it's just more of the same.
Yeah, apparently they took over the police station in Bristol.
Wait,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we're having another Minneapolis. Like,
I'm gonna
Here's
say,
now here's a question. If there was a protest going ahead, why is there so little police presence?
because
There's a few riot police about, to be fair.
Yeah,
but,
no. If it's kicking off like this, they should be pulling in way more resources right
This
now.
guy-
it's
No.
obviously in their interest.
this entire thing is caught them off by Shock and Awe. Shock and Awe, who just say that
It's not. No, I'm
they
not. I'm not
did
thinking.
not
I'm not.
see this coming. They had well,
That's a load. That's a load of rubbish. They've got informants all over the place to like tell them when things are going to go off, when they're about to kick off, and everything else. They have people that watch specifically to tell whether or not. I mentioned this earlier again to do with processions, right? So a procession has like a sort of energy within itself. It's like a spiritual energy. You can tell when something's just about to kick off. You can't obviously we can't feel it because we're not there. But if you were there, you would be able to tell. Oh, hold on, something's about to kick off here. Right, they'll have people in there on the phones, or they'll have it ready to make a call. Right, so they'd have a system set up. So I've got a feeling this is a bit like the specifically not got that many police on the street about this deliberately. It's a deliberate thing to allow it to get out of hand. So then you can have this BBC, this feckless Sky reporter drum up all this rubbish, dude. It really is. It's not about.
It's such a shame, yeah. I mean, Sky News is meant to be Murdoch press, isn't it? Like Sky News Australia often says some quite base things.
Yeah.
But Sky News UK is fucking unbelievable. Sorry,
you got cable who's like hot dog shit.
Love
so.
Australia.
Well, yeah, but if you're running a psychological campaign, right, and you're Sky News, you're gonna want something to be shown as, oh look, this is right wing. So you get leftists saying, oh, but Sky News, it's all bloody right wing Murdoch press, right, and then you run other stories that are explicitly left wing. So then you get right wingers going, oh my god, Sky News, it's all full of left wing, but right. Etc. 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 So you essentially polarize both the left and the right against Sky News, right? So they're more focused on just nattering away over this complete rubbish that doesn't actually mean anything, right? Than the actual issue. And
they're trying to set fire to the police. They're trying to set fire to the fuel tank, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
mate, if that blows, people are gonna fuck
Yeah, like he's gonna die as well if that happens. To be honest,
it. In the army, but please not anyone. Sure.
I would just say, just expect more of this. Honestly, just expect more of this, because the public are going to get more and more annoyed, regardless of the public, regardless of political affiliation. Like, there is no political affiliation at this point.
Yeah,
It's completely irrelevant. It really is.
Well, it's populist against anti-populist now, isn't it? I suppose.
No, not even that, mate. It's gov v citizens, and we can fight the culture later.
yeah.
The culture war was already lost. The culture war was lost fucking before we were born, mate. It's been and gone. Dude, it's been and gone. The culture war was the final hoorah was in the 90s with the Christian conservatives in the UK and America. That was the final hoorah, and they were guaranteed to lose that. The actual culture war was lost around about the 70s, 80s.
Are you saying that the culture war?
The original series started off with 13 dudes, and I know one of them was a traitor, but the others did pretty well. you know, 12 men can start a revolution.
Well,
All
there
right,
is,
third post again.
well, there is no revolution. There is no revolution. The revolution has been co-opted by by whoever the people are that inform Sky News and whoever to do. I don't know who they are, so I don't have a name for them. I suppose you could just use, I don't know, globalists. I suppose you could call them. That's probably as best as I can give.
Global.
Um, they where was I going with that?
Global homogeneity.
Yeah, that's what they want, and essentially the playing. All they're doing now is they're just playing people off against each other. So they're not focused on what's actually happening. So instead of what this was actually about, which is a protest against the protest bill, it's now been said, oh look, it's a riot and it's violent and it's dangerous. Right. So essentially, the majority of the public is going to see this. They won't see what led up to it or care about what's been said. And
Well, you can tell what kind of people are at this because you got women with short blonde hair dyed. You can see that
Yeah.
loads of other people. There's a fellow with an anarcho-communist flag, right? It's your typical millennial Bristol turnout, right? If anyone who's been to Bristol, you know what I'm talking about.
They just put Scotty Butler's new comment up.
New Rangers, Glasgow Rangers.
What do we all think of the British Army Rangers there, lads?
Army talk. Oh, I think we've had enough army talk for a
Yeah.
century. All this damage is a shame because Bristol is quite a nice city actually. I have been there. They've got a lot of nice buildings. They've got the National Science Museum. I think they've changed the name of that now. But it's like sort of like on par with London in terms of the niceness of some of the offices, and being from a provincial city, I mean, it's pretty breathtaking. I mean, I wouldn't say breathtaking, but it's a nice city at least. But if there was ever an argument to move to the countryside, should move to the countryside anyway. But,
well, you city bumders can stay the hell away from my countryside. I've had enough of you already.
Agreed. Stay out of my country.
Right, fair enough. Not going to Scotland anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
Bristol
It's
shithole.
actually-
Yeah,
it's
depends where you go in
probably-
Bristol. Bits of Bristol are a shithole, and bits of Bristol are quite nice. It's like most cities, I suppose. But yeah. Given the US Rangers were just a copy of the British commanders in World War II, I see no reason that the US needs them. I have absolutely no idea. And anyone got any ideas on that?
The British Rangers is a weird idea. It's going to be
Well,
the fact that we are forming a Rangers regiment is strange because they're just sucking off money from other projects, giving it
Wait,
to
what?
existing
the
regiments.
Queen's Rangers were pretty up there.
Can they start the Glasgow Rangers regiment? That'd be based.
Fuck hell. The Cornwall part too.
Hell no.
Yeah,
That's
no,
what they
so-
did. They did that in World War One, though, didn't they? They used to have like
Yeah.
little regional regiments. So they used to have like Leeds regiment and
Yeah,
stuff like that. They
yeah,
stopped
they
doing
did
that because
that
everyone
before.
kept dying. Yeah, because everyone kept dying in the regiments, so they stopped doing it. So,
Can somebody fill me in on what this British Rangers is?
I don't think it's just military stuff. I don't know. But
I think it's
It's
called
better-
childhood reforms.
It's a bit of a waste of money, but
Yeah, but what is it?
it's essentially a new special operations force to
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, immediately. Yeah, no, I understand now.
to do exactly.
It's not like we have too many of those.
It's not like, well, it's because I think all this stuff to do with special forces is because we're moving away from what is it now? Westphalian military system, where the state is the only deciding force on what wars we get involved in. It's going back to a pre-Westphalian system where you've got like mercenaries running around, and the only way that you can combat that is by having state mercenaries, let's say in quotation marks, right? Because they're not actually mercenaries; they're just owned by the state, but they're essentially. So this is like where the special forces come in. So it's just lots and lots of different special forces units all running around doing all their own little things to try and combat these different mercenary groups that are running around. Because what am I thinking? Nation state armies are no longer, they're just not sufficient to deal with fourth generation modern warfare, which is less about physical kinetic force with each other, that being physical, guns on the ground shooting each other in a stand, face to face, right? Using grenades and mortars and mobile warfare and all that's gone away now. So it's all about psychological attacks, which is why it's actually, John's mentioned it there, the 88th Connaught Rangers. No, sorry, there's a psychological. It's either the 77th Brigade or the 88th Brigade in the UK. It's a PSYOP, Psychological Operations Warfare Unit, connected with MI5 and MI6. Their entire point is about spreading disinformation and information within enemy troops and their own troops as well.
So that's where my schizophrenia comes from.
Well, they're also involved in spreading disinformation online within the civilian population as well of the UK and foreign countries.
Yeah. Can I just say something about that?
Yeah.
About the whole, it's not really that much about combat anymore, but more about psychological warfare. I think that's true to a certain degree, but as we've progressively gotten older, as a race, we've always had like wars have gotten a lot worse. Like there's been more deaths. The last two most horrible conflicts were World War I and World War II, and not long before that, the third worst was the Napoleonic Wars. So it's almost like something's on the brink. So you can prevent wars by, I think Napoleon himself said it, 3/4 of every war is personal relations and ties, and something like that. So you're always going to have fighting. So I don't think it's just going to be psychological.
No. It's when I mean psychological, I mean that's a part of it. So you've also got economics. That's another side of the war. So it's imagine total war across every single dimension.
Yeah.
Right. So economic. Then you've got civilian warfare. None of this is, bear in mind, none of this is actually kinetic. None of this is actually two guys on the ground shooting at each other. None of it is. None of it's actually like shooting at a person on the ground. So
yeah, most of the war is what you'd call kinetic, but it's like I don't know how to describe it, but the kinetic part, as you'd call it, is a very important part.
Yeah, but the kinetic part's completely irrelevant at this point. That's what I'm saying. Which is the reason
irrelevant
why
or relevant?
No, irrelevant, because this is the reason why you've got an increase in interest within nations going into more special forces and wanting more special force units. Because what you're doing then is you're just maximizing the ability for kinetic fighting at its best on a you're trying to disperse the combat effectiveness within small units that deal with irregular forces, because tanks, helicopters, missiles, all these modern things in a modern maneuver based warfare is completely useless against a bunch of Iraqis in an urban environment. Just as an example, whether they be Sunni or Shiite militia units, it's complete. No, I'm being serious. It's completely useless.
Well, I agree that technology has gotten us a lot more sophisticated, and our infrastructure has gotten a lot more complex. So we have to rely on more things like special forces and people who have specific jobs in wars and stuff like that. But I think guerrilla warfare is incredibly important. Like you say that, say a couple of tanks against like an Iraqi urban area. I don't see how the Iraqis could just do nothing.
Well, yeah, they're going to do a lot of damage. But the other part as well is when I mentioned the Westphalian system, that's essentially where the entire army was turned into a nation-state system. So essentially, the nation-state owns the army, and it's a standing army of the mass man. That's the other part as well. So that comes out like
wasn't that also Prussia?
Yeah, essentially. So the Prussians came up with this. It was after the 30 Years' War, essentially.
Yeah.
And then after that, the 30 Years' War was absolutely horrible because it wasn't so much the nation state armies that was obviously they caused a lot of damage. There was a lot of independent mercenary groups that were running around switching sides consistently during that conflict, and they were murdering civilians all the time because obviously they're only fighting for money. What I'm saying, however, the Westphalian system is dying and is going away because it's no longer effective. You can't rebuild Iraq after you've gone in and bombed the shit out of it. You can't do that because the people there already have internal conflicts, and that is, as a result, they are actually pre-Westphalian, the way that they fight. So effectively what you've got, a pre-Westphalian system basically means you've got people fighting for economic reasons, family reasons, for territorial reasons, religious reasons, just fighting for the sake of bloodshed because they might be a bit psychotic, right? So you've got there's no one defining reason why people are fighting in these conflicts. So they're a lot harder to actually defeat because you might deal with one group, but then you've got another group that is fighting for a completely different reason. And then you have to, if you're conquering that territory, you have to change up your tactics and strategy to deal with that. That's the issue, and that's the reason why there's more reliance on special forces units, because they, in terms of their combat effectiveness, are actually superior to these militia groups that are all doing their own things. So you can still maintain a sense of control, but it's like ordered chaos essentially. It's like Iraq's a complete mess, but it's just making a little bit of more order out of that.
Well, Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran especially, and I think Iraq as well. I think it has been said these places are the graveyard of empires, right? Aren't they?
They are, yeah.
But obviously, that's where the great game happened between Russia and the UK, and it's very hilly and things. There's guerrilla warfare and things like that. So,
indeed.
Yeah.
I recently saw the only reason, I think one of the only reasons is, Afghanistan's got a lot of material wealth like gold and silver and rare earth metals and stuff like that in the mountain regions.
Anyway, so I got this on screen. He broke his promise that he's not going to cut the armed services. They're going to cut them in the end.
And no one's going to give a shit. No one's going to give a shit.
That won't be bottom level. That will be telling top tier warrant officers and seniors that have a big pension that you probably should go.
Yeah,
they won't biff them on the spot.
So,
is there anything specifically about what he's cutting?
It's just that last week's wider foreign and defense review fueled reports that the army will fall from 80,000 to 70,000 soldiers as resourced. So essentially, they're going to cut it to replace for electronic and cyber warfare.
There you go.
Yeah,
So that's
warfare.
fourth generation modern warfare, which is where it's like combat against other nations. So you're engaging in more. It's essentially it's like propaganda. Essentially, that's the best way to look at it. But it's very intricate. So you're trying to keep your own population completely out of the know while keeping in the know. At the same time, you're trying to do that to a foreign population as well. But you're trying to do it but you're also trying to do it on economic positions, whilst on social positions, whilst on religious positions, right? So you're trying to do it on multiple different fronts to try and cause as much disruption as you can. So this is for example, China with America. That's a good example. China basically owns the Democrats, and along with that, with the Chinese owning the Democrats, they don't even need to land Chinese forces into America to say conquer America. All they need to do is get their hands into the into the rear ends of the Democrats as best they can, and they can just subvert the nation via that way, right? And they can also do that via disruption campaigns in social media and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep, that's totally true. So probably one of the final things. Laurence Fox is running for London Mayor now. I think he's had this sort of campaign going on for a while, hasn't he? He's got quite a bit of money behind him, ex-Tory donors, and things like that. And he was at the anti-lockdown protest yesterday. So does anyone have any sort of like broad thoughts on like Laurence Fox? Or my opinion of him basically is just like he said he wanted to be the UKIP of culture, but I mean I don't think. Who does he appeal to? Who does he appeal to? I mean, he's an ex-Etonian, isn't he? I mean, I don't know. I don't know where their voting base would be. I mean,
What the fuck does that even mean?
I mean, the voting base would be like boomer cons and like libertarian freedom fighters. I mean, he doesn't have a base. I don't see him winning. He's not going to
libertarian base of politics.
I doubt it. I doubt it's going to work. I'd like to see him like thrive, but I doubt it's going to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's all these different people running for London Mayor, aren't there? There's Laurence Fox, Sean Bailey. I think Katie Hopkins might be. There's also David Curtin, Roy Stewart, like all these. And the thing is, Sadiq Khan's going to win get over 50% first round. I think quite likely. So it's completely pointless. All these people. He's never going to be London Mayor, is he? It's just not going to happen. So, I mean, not in a month of Sundays. But carry on. Oh, someone was talking. But no, they are not.
This could be a very weird set of elections.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with the census for London. Could be very weird thing. But I don't know. Laurence Fox. I watched one of the things where he went on Question Time, and it's just like, oh, it's so tired. It's like 2016 tier, like Sargon of Akkad liberal takes on free speech.
Yeah.
Like, oh, have we moved on? Can we move on, please? I mean, like, can we just move our discourse up a level, please? Just like, you're being racist to me if you say, well, it's true, but like, you can't say that because it's racist to white people. It's like, oh god, it's racist.
What do you mean?
Classical liberalism has gone too far. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah.
I don't care what race you are, so long as you're racist. This is coming from a mixed race.
Yeah, I think a lot of people might be surprised about that, seeing as you Fed post so much. But I mean,
yeah, and I've got Colombian in my name. I've got a Crusader, but PFP. Yeah, people see me IRL and they're just like, what the fuck? He from
Brown. Anyone else got any takes on Laurence Fox?
I've just had enough of politics. It's fucking tragic.
Clear pilled. Anyone else?
State.
This is just a fucking joke.
Well, he's not going to do anything. I mean,
No, of course not. Just the thought of Laurence Fox having an actual platform, like
he got a £5 million donation, I think, to start it. So
this just is not sensible.
Wait,
did you say 5 million quid?
Yeah, that was one donation he got from some ex-Tory donor to start up the Reclaim Party.
So I've got a
Who would give 5 million quid to some 6'9" ginger to go back into the 2016 sphere of things? That is retarded.
I mean, I don't know. I guess he's a populist in a way, isn't he? I suppose because he's like, yeah, they're trying to censor your opinions. They're trying to, but it's like it can only take you so far. This kind of stuff, right? You eventually need to get a bit more muscular with things, other than just like, oh well, we need to have an equal playing field or whatever. Like, come on, they're not going to give that to you. You need to move your politics up a level, don't you? Just a little bit more muscular, right? Just act in your own best interest. That's what you have to do, right?
Work out.
Universalism is a mistake. Okay, I'm sorry, but carry on. Yeah. Laurence Fox, anyone?
I don't know. I definitely want to have a look at the debates, see what happens. Hold on.
Hello. Well, anyway.
I do need to go actually because it's a little bit over by about half an hour. But
yeah, we might. I think we've run out of topics unless anyone's got any questions. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Louis. Very interesting to have you on etymology and things like that. So thank you very much for your time.
I always like to come on and
Sorry,
pass knowledge
boys.
on that I do know. So thank you very much for having me on. Thank you for the chat, for being here, watching. I hope you did all right. I hope you like the panel. And yeah, good night and God bless.
Night.
God bless.
No.
Right, we got any cues or to be honest, I might just end it here unless there's anything else.
Can I
you wanna talk about.
just
Right, carry on.
Before we finish, can anyone tell a joke?
Tell a joke. I'm not good at jokes.
Yeah, a joke. What's black, orange, and screams?
Oh no, it's not. Please don't fair post.
Oh,
Come
yeah,
on.
it's Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
No. I missed that, and I'm glad I didn't hear it. I'm glad I didn't hear it. Right, I'll check with. You know what? There's the stream yard. I have it. Thank you.
Wait, no, hang on.
Right now. Yeah.
I just like to round off on what I said earlier about pan-Europeanism. That's okay.
Okay.
Because I'm sorry, but I've had a sore throat for the last 14 years of my life, so I wasn't. I'm quite ill, so I didn't say what I wanted to say. Basically, that throughout all of history, every single notion of pan-Europeanism put into practice is nothing but conflict. No one can show me a single time where any kind of union, be it political, military, or otherwise, that was not based on conflict. It has never been practical. It has always been pragmatic, and that's why the European Parliament today is disliked and does nothing but pass. 99% of legislation passes as bullshit and is not enforceable. Therefore, it's unpragmatic and will never be practical. There we go. Thank you. That's what I wanted to say, but I was such a fucking spastic that I couldn't round it off like that.
Right, yeah, have a good night. I'm fucking off to bed. You guys have a good one.
Yeah, have a good night.
I've got work at 6:30 tomorrow.
Yeah, we should probably end in a memento. But we
Yeah,
got Squatty Buckers there.
Send me the footage, I'll see you in a bit.
Oh, we'll do.
Yeah,
We got Squatty Buckers here. So I'll do it to you as well. Right. We got Squatty Buckers here. Any thoughts, Squatty Buckers, before we wrap things up? What's up, my man? He's here, but he's got the North FC Pro. He's putting himself mute on off mute, but I don't think it's working.
Absolute geezer.
Oh, it sucks, man. Squatty,
geezer.
no. Rip and GG.
I think my PC kind of crashed right now. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why.
We'll conclude it.
Yeah, we'll conclude it here. Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, there we go. He's here. Oh, we got him. Right. Okay. Any thoughts, Scotty?
Yeah.
How's it going,
Laurence Fox would be 100 times more based if he was an ethno-nationalist.
He'd just be like a liberal ethno-nationalist, wouldn't he? Like a class of like Stefan Molyneux.
Yeah, well, he'd just be based as fuck because he's got a Chad look, but nah, instead he on Midsummer Murders or something like that.
Wasn't he? I think it was Love Actually. He was on. Was he on Love Actually?
No, he was on Midsummer Murders as well. He's on that TV show where he's an investigator.
He was shagging. Who was he shagging? He was shagging.
That blonde girl from Swindon. Billy Piper.
Rose Tyler from Doctor Who. Yeah.
No, Billy Piper.
All right. She's in other things as well, but that's what I'd remember her as.
What the fuck am I listening to?
All right. Anything else? Anyone? Garbage stream. Anyway.
Yeah. Shout out to Jord. I know he's not on here.
Big up Jord.
Yeah, big up Jord. Yeah, what a lad. Everyone subscribe to Mess Squad. Mess Squad is amazing. As well as that, big up to the people in Bristol at the moment.
What? No, come on,
they
we
know
can't pick it
no, not them. The people with their, they'd know anyway. Doesn't matter. Yeah, big up. Patriotic Alternative sucks.
No. Oh yeah, it does suck. Sorry. Thank you.
Mark Collette streams the shit. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you for those based messages there. Anyway, what were we saying? Christ is king. Christ is king. Christ is king. Right. Okay. Low energy stream ending. I need to stop doing them so late because I'm so low energy. Anyway. All right. We'll conclude it here. Everyone subscribe to Right Honourable Limbu's channel. He's left. All right. Okay. Everyone, if we can get higher than 21 likes, that'd be appreciated. But yeah. Have a good week, everyone, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Cheers. Christ is king. May the blessing of our Lord Jesus